like to move on to the third speaker, Professor Niteesh Kumar, who is Assistant Professor of Law at Calcutta's University of Law, Calcutta University of India, and founder of Indian Network of Clinical Legal Education. What is also important, I believe you're also founding member of Knowledge Teas, and this is a brilliant combination of academy and industry interlinkage also. And to his credentials, he has multiple publications and also multiple awards from Hague Academy, Gage Turkey, Gage Mexico, and also as the social change maker in 2015, Youth for Human Rights, so on. So his credentials don't stop, but due to time constraints, I'm cutting it short. So would be discussing with us designing a roadmap for futuristic online legal education program. So before you start off, just wanted to have a clarification. How do you find the online legal education? Because we had trouble with the offline itself, trying to get things across to our students. Now, when we have a virtual media, we face multiple challenges. How do you find the online legal education?
Let's take your question at the end, maybe.
Yes.
And I'll just
I hope you also cover it through your paper. Yeah. Yes. Please.
Okay. So, good morning, according to India. I hope it's afternoon there in Hong Kong. I'm Niteesh Kumar Upadhyay. I'll start with the term that we say that clinical papers are there in third year, fourth year, fifth year. There is a need in Indian legal system as well as not just India, in Asian countries and Asian legal system to make clinical components part of every subject. You cannot just opt that, okay, the clinical paper will come in fourth and fifth year and then you will be going about it and you will be doing things. There are many ways in which you can do clinical teaching. You can go ahead with the clinical programs and all, including if you are teaching any subject. Even if you give me a name of a subject, I can tell you what kind of activities you can plan. So this is clinical. When you say it's not just related to legal aid, it's not only legal aid clinics, it's more of learning by doing, how you do it, in what way you do it, and all these things are there. So I'll first tell you how I used to do it when lockdown was not there, and how I have to change my methodology and modus operandi after this lockdown being in online mode. Earlier during my classes, I used to have a lot of ways of teaching. So I used Socratic method, jigsaw group, fishbowl approach, pairing and sharing. I used to have sticky notes. I used to do social experimentations. I used to use tabula rasa. I hope people who are clinician, who are into clinical legal education, must be aware about these terms. So I used to use these methodologies of teaching in my class, but as soon as the lockdown is there, I have to change these methodologies. So there was a swift change how I have to run my clinical subject. So I don't say that it's clinical subject. I say every subject is clinical and I teach in that particular way. First, I'll start with the Kolb learning inventory. So it says that everybody learns in a different way. And the level of learning is different. Somebody by just listening, somebody learns it by listening and writing, somebody learns by, visual, audio visual and things. So we have to understand what is your crowd, what kind of understanding they can have, what is the best way that you can teach them. So first I'll talk about a project that I did is teaching through workshops. And what I did is I have included this into my subject of human rights, which I was teaching in fourth year. So I have started a model where I call it a workshop model of projects. So I have asked them not to write a project, but I have asked them that, okay, go and talk to any private school or any government school or any NGO and go there and teach people about what is good touch and bad touch, what is sexual harassment. So they can choose from a variety of topics and they will go and they will conduct the workshop over there. And they will be submitting a report on which I'll be marking them. So I'll just share the whole model and then this is the model which is prior than the lockdown. So I had a group of around 200 students in a subject called public interest lawyering, and that I divided it into 32 groups. And I have asked them, everybody, to all the group members and as a group, to conduct a workshop not less than 1 hour. They have went to schools, they had a word with them. So first steps involve that I discuss the themes with the students. Then I review the documents, because students are sometimes, not very much aware about the research material that they are showing, the kind of a video, what will the impact of the video. So I see all the PPTs, all the material that they are going to show to the universities, to the schools, or to the resident welfare association and NGOs. And then I suggest my comments over there. Then my university just issue, or maybe most of the time, then this job has been taken by me because I joined as a chair of a clinical legal initiative in my university. So I give them a no objection certificate that they can go and talk to these universities and people. The students go by themselves, so they know how to, do a kind of a PR, build a PR relationship, and talk to university, schools, and different people. And then also, while preparing all these material, they are learning about research skills. And also when they are delivering the workshop, they are learning about the best possible ways of communicating with people who are not aware about laws, giving answers to their queries, and also a certain aspect of mentorship. So this were the steps that they followed, and we at an institutional level has relaxed them in terms of attendance on the day of workshop. We asked them to prepare a file. So everybody was supposed to prepare a file like this, which says that it's submitted to clinical legal initiatives. The file will contain the details about the program. It will contain the questionnaires. The file will also contain feedback forms. So there is a learning for them. They should also know where they have gone wrong. The file will also contain the CD of the whole program that they have. So I asked them to video record because it's not possible for me to go for each and every workshop. And I also asked them to put the pictures in the report. So they submit a file kind like this, and on this I mark their projects. So this is a valuation of around 40 marks to them. So there are various subjects in which this could be done in cyber law, ADR. You can adopt a village. You can, remove their small problems related to civil disputes and all. Constitutional law, it is possible. So these are list of the subjects in which this approach of taking projects or this approach is possible. There are certain hurdles to it, and the hurdles is that you need to have a proper planning, managing students, managing record and things, and that's how this model can work properly. This was working fantastically before the lockdown. I was using this was a project model. I was also using other models in my class where I used to use audio, video, and I used to use jigsaw method. I used to use fishbowl group approach for teaching students. But everything has come to halt as soon as lockdown was there, because now there is no group to do a group exercise. Everybody is sitting at their home with a different level of internet connectivity. So it becomes a trouble. And now, we have to design a clinical legal education to the 4.0, which is a normal of a lockdown. So we have designed it in a way. So what I started doing is I'll show you a video and I'll tell you how we can use this also as a teaching method. I'm just playing a song. It's a song for around 4 minutes, but I'll be playing only for 1 minute. Okay, so why I have played this video is like I find out songs like this. I'm teaching human rights this year, and this song has words which talk about human rights and violation of human rights, and pictures, obviously, which is talking about human rights violations. So I have divided them into, let's take 20 seconds each student, and I have asked them that, okay, now you have to identify in words and in pictures both what kind of rights you find, what kinds of violations are there. You have to also find out a landmark judgment on such cases and any recent judgment, and you have to prepare a video for 5 minutes. So now you will be preparing on this song for 20 seconds. 20 seconds is given to you, but you have to prepare a video which is almost, let's take 5 to 6 minutes, and you will be sharing this video on the WhatsApp group of the class, and everybody is like making this video. So almost all types of violations have been reflected into this particular song, and the words are also talking in terms of poverty, in terms of maternity benefit, in terms of slum, in terms of health issues, so rape, all these issues are there in this particular video. And then these students make the video and they share on the group. So it's kind of a peer learning also. They are looking to the videos of other also. And I say that, okay, you comment on it. You find out, okay, that there is a class where we kind of, take a revision kind of a thing that, okay, what all you have learned from this video and a video of that particular person. So this is one exercise that I am doing. Other exercise that I'm doing is I'm giving them a brief, a kind of a case analysis. And again, they are coming live on Zoom and other platforms like Google Meet and all, and they're presenting the case briefs. So more or less like the old method into online method. I had a very good session. I called it a dancing session, and somebody asked me why you were just, asking everybody to dance or something like this. Because as I said, you keep your video on. Today's a dancing session. Everybody will dance for 5 minutes. Whatever is your move, we don't bother about it. And one of the students said, "Sir, why it is important?" I said, "Okay, then there is a UDHR talks about human rights called play and leisure. So if you're not knowing about, then learn it and let's do it. Let's do it to enjoy our UDHR of play and leisure." So we did a dancing session. We need to think how we can actually keep the class interesting, how we can keep going with our clinical methodologies and subjects. And it is us who will be designing the way how we are taking the class. Sometimes, students just switch off their video, they are sleeping, they are not there, and things like this happen. So what I do is I have also very actively used Socratic method of teaching. So after every 1 or 2 minutes, I'll ask somebody. I'll just name a random person in my class and ask, okay, what was the last point that I was discussing about? So by this, I also try to keep the focus on of the class, that they're not switching off the videos and they're leaving the classroom like that. They're not listening to it. So I also like Mehak. I'm very proud to say that Mehak and Astha both were my students. So these are Astha works with knowledge teas, and Mehak was my student when I was teaching at National University Patna. There are outcome of my clinical projects that I used to do. I was very new when I joined, and later on I have developed a lot of new methods of these clinical teaching. We are, as a part of the team, we are doing a lot of clinical exercises also. I'm training faculty members and all also how you can make your class interesting, how you can do things. And to be very honest, there are not a lot of students who talk to me in terms of finding, please tell me about what is important in course, what is syllabus and things, which is a usual problem of faculty member, that your time is wasted because students are asking a lot of questions which is for their utility but does not suffice your purpose. So there are a lot of students who are in touch with me related to, okay, what they can do in future, how they can use these skills, what all they can do, what new things they can develop. And I have suggested some of the students who are very fantastic writers to start their own blogs. And we are, as a class, we are also commenting on their blogs that, okay, this is wrong there. This is that needs to be included. So there are methods, and we as a teacher have to find out that, okay, which method will be best suited for our people, and students will be really, so we need to know Kolb learning inventory very well before we can start any clinical programs. And clinical could be in any subject. So I have already given you a list of, on my PPT list of subjects, which I could think of that a clinical exercise is very easily possible. So you cannot say that there is only 2 clinical papers in my 5 years. Almost every subject is a clinical paper if you take it in that particular way. So we have also, there are people who are into poetry and story writing and things. I have also used them for classroom teaching. I said, okay, you just write whatever you want to write, and maybe I can discuss in class and find out what is there in terms of human right, what kind of jurisprudence is coming out of it. So there are various exercises that you can, and when I'm saying futuristic clinical legal education, the old model that I used to do is completely failure, not possible here. There is another model that I'm using, that I'm asking students to conduct webinars and discuss all these awareness things to n number of people, irrespective of jurisdiction where they are coming from. And but the problem is, we reach to government schools, we reach to places where there is no mobile phone, no internet, that we are not able to do now. So we have to even look forward for such challenges, how our clinical methodologies could be good in doing that. And as far as there are already 2 speakers have talked about legal aid clinics is a big sham in India. When there is a visit of bar council, your clinic will start, everything will be there, but as soon as it is gone, it is used as a recreation room or admission room or something like this. So we need to think of it. We need to not just think clinical legal education in terms of legal aid, but into a wider umbrella where every subject can be taught in a clinical way. So this is all from my side. If there is any question, I'm happy to take the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Niteesh. It was indeed a very informative session. So I believe there is much questions from the audience side. It would be great if you can put forward some clarifications about implementing these in terms of as the chair of clinical legal education in the university, do you provide guidelines in terms of how it can be done, or what are the courses that the teachers can involve themselves in, or something of that sort?
Yeah, the question is complete. Okay,
yes,
I can give the
yes.
response. Oh, thank you. What we do is we identify all the subjects that are coming in the upcoming semester, and we fix a clinical exercise for it. We are not fixing the clinical models of teaching. So we are not talking about classroom. In terms of projects, we fix them that, okay, in this subject, there will be mood. In this subject, there will be a workshop. In this subject, there will be a survey. In this subject, there will be a, let's take Model United Nation or parliamentary debate. So while teaching space law and international law, I have a MUN on space law. So these kind of activities, and we make sure that every semester there is no duplication of the activity. So if there is moot in one subject, there is not moot in other subject. If there is a project in one subject, there is no project in other subject. So we are working in a holistic development of student. We are working on all the necessary things that they require: research, PR, presentation, orientations, question answer, everything we are keeping. And furthermore, in terms of the classroom teaching, we take a session, we call it think tank sessions, where we go, and people like me who are budding into, I'll not call experts, we are budding into clinical legal education in India. So we go and teach our peer mates that, okay, how you can make the class more interesting, how you can use chart papers, how you can use sticky notes, how you can use even mobile phone songs, dance and things, even exercises for, teaching law. So this is how we are helping our legal system and our university in terms of clinical legal education.
Thank you so much. It's very nice that we have, in fact, in India, we don't really have someone called as a clinical legal educator, because we tend to have either, we claim the practicing lawyers to have engaged certain clinical papers, or there was always a divide. And it's good to see that something like this also coming up. And I hope all the colleges get an opportunity to have that. In fact, that actually, it complements with